So Research Day is a unique initiative. Now we have the Science Day, which celebrates the discovery of Raman effect. We have the Technology Day, which is the first nuclear test which we did in 98. We have Mathematics Day, which is the birthday of Srinivasa Ramanujan. But now Professor Narendra Rao has started the Research Day.
Remain.
We are missing linkage between industry and academia despite our best efforts. The major underlying changes which have been highlighted post-COVID-19 are that we are highly import dependent both for our industry as well as our R&D. Then we have stringent regulatory mechanisms for introduction of new novel drugs and vaccines. Scientists of DRDO have responded that totally about 53 to 54 products have come out of DRDO in just about 45 days to 50 days.
In my opinion, industry should be encouraged to innovate and they should have connection with the academia.
Frankly speaking, it is just a realization that only when R&D and innovation system is strong, Indian R&D, Indian industry will be strong.
The future of India depends on the foundation of science and technology. We should do what? What do we do? We have to do three types of research in India. First, the one that is very competitive, working on the very frontiers of science, about including virus research, research related to health, research related to materials, and research related to technology of various kinds. Second, we have to do types of research that directly helps industry of India, which are national priorities. The third type of research is one where there are unique possibilities, where India will be the number one in the world in that area. In those areas where India has a unique advantage, we'll have to do much more work.
Come together to combat COVID-19. So it has been a preemptive, proactive and participatory approach.
The university distinguished lectures are being organized in such a way that the faculty members, the research scholars and students of SRM University-AP will get benefited. Also, these lectures are being attended by large gathering of participants from several premier institutions, universities in the country and abroad.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
So this first slide.
Yes, Professor Seeram, welcome.
I'm here. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Good to connect with you guys again.
yeah. We are also happy to host you
Thank
and
you.
listen to you today. Yes. Yeah, Vinod.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hi, Vinod.
Hi. Hello, sir.
Shall I do the screen sharing so that I know it is working?
Yeah, please.
Let's do that. Okay. Screen share. Yeah. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Is
Yes.
it clear?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay then. Perfect. 1 second. I have one video. Let's see whether I can play. Can you guys hear this one?
I'm not hearing anything.
Sir, a small suggestion. While sharing the screen, you'll get an option called share with the sound at the bottom.
Share this.
You can stop sharing the screen once and try doing it.
Okay.
At the bottom, you'll get a small option.
Oh, share computer sound. Is that the one?
Yes.
So I select that also.
Yeah.
But that would that actually affect the delivery? It doesn't, right?
No, sir. No. Your video's sound, we can hear it out.
Okay. There is one more button. Optimize screen sharing for a video clip. Should I click that also?
Not needed, sir. Not needed.
Okay. Then let's try again. Okay. How about now?
Trees may look like solitary individuals, but the ground beneath our feet tells a different story. Trees are secretly talking, trading, and waging war on one another. They do this using a network of fungi that grow around and inside their roots. The fungi provide the trees with nutrients, and in return they receive sugars. But scientists have found this connection runs.
Okay. So I guess that's okay, right?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, wonderful.
Vinod. The VCs are also joined. Hello, Vinod.
Yes. Yes, Ranjit.
Yes, VCs are also joined, I think.
Yeah. Yes, I am seeing it. Hello.
Just for info, sir. VC sir is not joined, but this is Nirmal. He's just finishing another call. I will entertain and he said he will be joining shortly. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Binod,
Yes, Ranjit.
I think Provis is still not joined.
Yeah.
We are a multidisciplinary university with interdisciplinary approach, both in research as well as teaching. Because of this emphasis on research, our faculty, who are almost 100% PhDs, have published more than 300 publications in very high impact journals.
SRM University, Andhra Pradesh is established as a research intensive university carrying out research in frontline and emerging areas of science, technology, liberal arts and social sciences. I am glad that faculty members and research scholars of this university have published 241 quality publications in the year 2020. Some of them appeared in Nature, Nature Microbiology, Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences, PNAS, Applied Catalysis and IEEE journals. Our faculty members and students have filed and published 11 patents in this calendar year. Faculty members have been granted 5 research projects by the industry and also the funding agencies of the Government of India. We have established a Center for Energy Storage Devices jointly with Amar Raja Batteries Limited, a leading battery manufacturer in the country, with objectives such as fast charging of lithium-ion batteries and also developing 3D printed battery electrodes. Our students have done several projects including retrofitting of e-bike and design and development of drones for societal applications such as disinfecting and also spraying of pesticides over farmland.
Hello, I am Dr. Sudarshan Govindarajan, Assistant Professor at the Department of Biology, SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. I was recently awarded the prestigious DBT Wellcome Trust Early Career Fellowship. In my laboratory, we will be exploring the genetics, life cycle and cell biology of novel class of bacterial viruses called as jumbo bacteriophages. We are hoping to make fundamental discoveries on the evolution of life through our studies on jumbo bacteriophages. Thank you very much.
This center, we work on various objectives related to energy storage devices such as industrial scale synthesis of battery cathode materials, fast charging technique for lithium-ion batteries and the low cost alternate cathode materials, then adopting of additive manufacturing, that is 3D printing technology for fabrication of lithium-ion battery cathodes and the thermal and electrical studies of lithium-ion batteries to develop efficient battery management system.
I am very happy that my name is listed as a top 2% researcher in the field of biotechnology.
We are a team of 10 members including faculty. We have come up with an idea of converting an old motor bike to electric bike. We have worked for almost 3 months to build this prototype and the tests are ongoing. The preliminary results are it is having a top speed of 60 km per hour and a range of 45 kilometers. Our electric bike has interesting features such as 3 drive modes for controlling the speed, reverse mode, regenerative braking, portable battery mechanism, and many more.
There is a video going on. Vinod Kumar will be not talking.
Hello, Nitin? Yes, VC sir joined, VC sir?
Yes, I have joined.
Okay. Vinod? Hello, Vinod?
Ranjit, I am here. Yeah.
Actually, I called Professor sir. He said he will take some time. He has some meeting with President. So
Okay.
VC sir is here. So we can start.
Yep. Yes. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to the University Distinguished Lecture, edition number 8 of SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. So now I invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor V.S. Rao, to give the welcome address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vinod. Good afternoon, everybody. So, Namaskaram, Professor Seeram Ramakrishna, sir, the distinguished speaker for this series, which is starting in today. In fact, we had 7 such type of distinguished lectures during the last semester. So first of all, thank you very much, Professor Seeram Ramakrishna, sir, for accepting our request to deliver this distinguished lecture series. Professor Narayan Rao, sir, Pro Vice Chancellor, and the organizing committee members who have taken this initiative to start university distinguished lectures, faculty, students, and other distinguished participants from all over the country, press and media. I welcome you all to the 8th distinguished lecture on Science and Technology for Healthy Life and Planet, which is going to be delivered today by Professor Seeram Ramakrishna, Everest Chair Professor and Director, Center for Nanofibers and Nanotechnology, Department of Mechanical Engineering, National University of Singapore. Professor Ramakrishna is among the 5 leading researchers of Singapore and among the top 3 impactful authors at the National University of Singapore. In fact, I first met you, sir, at American Society for Engineering Education in Beijing. We had very interesting discussions during that time, I still remember. Among his notable recognitions, Professor Seeram Ramakrishna was identified as the world's most influential scientific minds by Thomson Reuters, and Clarivate Analytics recognized him among the top 1% highly cited researchers in the world in material science, as well as cross-fields categories. And Microsoft Academic ranked him among the top 100 salient authors out of the 3 million material researchers worldwide. His Google Scholar lists more than 800 articles and 118,500 citations and 159 H-index. Apart from holding several academic leadership positions at NUS, Professor Seeram Ramakrishna is the founding chairman of Solar Energy Research Institute of Singapore. He also founded the Global Engineering Dean's Council while serving as the president of International Federation of Engineering Educators Societies. The esteemed academician is an advisor to the World Bank and a member of the UNESCO's Global Independent Expert Group on Universities and 2030 Sustainability Agenda and European Commission Director General for Environment. Dr. Ramakrishna's leadership experience includes NUS, University Vice President, Research Strategy, Dean of Faculty of Engineering, Director of NUS Enterprise, Director of NUS Industry Liaison Office, Founding Director of NUS Bioengineering, so on and so forth. Sir, we are indeed honored to have you deliver the distinguished lecture today. The SRM University had laid a strong emphasis on research and entrepreneurship right from its inception. As a result, today, we have faculty with 100% PhD and international exposure. Because of this strong emphasis, our faculty have published more than 300 publications in high-impact journals and filed or published 18 patents, a large number of DST and other governmental and non-governmental projects to the tune of around 18 crores. Today, we have 112 PhD students, although we are into our 4th year. With a view to encourage our faculty and students, a group of our young faculty members have started this University Distinguished Lecture Series during this academic year, as I was mentioning in the beginning. So we had excellent lectures during the last semester. So this is the first one, and we are indeed very honored to have your distinguished lecture as a first lecture during this semester. Of course, it is 8th edition, as Dr. Vinod was mentioning. With these words, I would like to thank Professor Seeram Ramakrishna for accepting to deliver the lecture and all the participants for their presence. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So now I invite our distinguished speaker to start the lecture, please.
Vice Chancellor V.S. Rao garu and all the members of the SRM AP as well as SRM India. It is indeed a privilege as well as a deep satisfaction for me to give this University Distinguished Lecture. The reason is 35 years ago, I did not imagine there would be SRM AP in my hometown. So to me, it is a special feeling that I'm giving this lecture after 35 years to the SRM AP. And I'm glad that such new things and more promising things are happening in my hometown. So I like to say that it is really an extraordinary feeling for me to give this lecture. On that note, I decided to choose this topic. I'm a scientist, so obviously it is about science of healthy life and a healthy planet. I chose life and planet. These two are most endearing to the human beings. Life is multifaceted. Even 1,000 lectures cannot cover everything we can talk about life. This is a short lecture, so I would be focusing on one important aspect of life, which is mind. So I like to say how the science is enabling us to understand mind differently and what kind of future it is unfolding for a healthy life. Just like life, planet is even multidimensional. Health of a planet depends on many things that go on outside our planet Earth. For example, solar system, cosmos. Events in solar system and cosmos has an influence on the health of planet Earth. But my goal is to give a small limited window of this multi-dimensional aspect of healthy planet and science of delivering a healthy planet. In this case, I focus on concept of sustainability or a circular economy. I have many slides, and also this is an abstract of my talk. I would like to give more time for question and answer. So I would share my slides with all the attendees so that you can pay attention to slides you like to know more. During my presentation, I intentionally skip through some slides so that we are within the time given to me. Pandemic 19, COVID-19 clearly affected billions of people around the world. According to a report, more than 130 million people, that means 2 times the size of Andhra Pradesh, are now pushed into poverty. This is the impact on economies around the world. There is also a sense that it would take more than 5 years for the world to get back to post-COVID-19 normalcy. COVID-19 experience also brought out different aspects of human beings. On the left side, you see a woman in America, 90 years old. She treks 10 kilometers to be vaccinated. On the right side, what we call Generation Z, those who are born after 1996. These young people, especially imagine a person of 12 years old or 15 years, they are investing in stocks. They have a view to secure financial future. You don't need to have 9-to-5 job. It's very different from millennials and other previous generations. So this is also a facet of human mind being demonstrated by young generation. So specific lessons, I believe, nobody is safe until everyone is safe. Mental health is not given and it is to be cultivated. We need to care for Earth to ensure healthy life. So in these 3 messages, I'm looking at mind and planet Earth and the health of them. How technology has been helpful in mitigating COVID-19. You could see there are many personal hygiene products based on new science. They quickly made into products to keep the people safe. Similarly, face masks, ventilation, other antimicrobial, antiviral sterilization instruments and devices and biomedical applications. What I like to say is nature also does its job. In this case, my colleagues experimented that plants naturally emit ions, and these ions scrub aerosols from the air. So in the case of someone associated with transmission of COVID-19, you could now imagine plants, vegetation contributing an important role. I like to show a simple BBC video. Hopefully you can see it.
Trees may look like solitary individuals, but the ground beneath our feet tells a different story. Trees are secretly talking, trading, and waging war on one another. They do this using a network of fungi that grow around and inside their roots. The fungi provide the trees with nutrients, and in return they receive sugars. But scientists have found this connection runs far deeper than first thought. By plugging into the fungal network, trees can share resources with each other. The system has been nicknamed the Wood Wide Web. It's thought that older trees, fondly known as mother trees, use this fungal network to supply shaded seedlings with sugars, giving them a better chance of survival. Those trees that are sick or dying may dump their resources into the network, which might then be used by healthier neighbours. Plants also use fungi to send messages to one another. If they're attacked, they can release chemical signals through their roots, which can warn their neighbours to raise their defences. But like our internet, the Wood Wide Web has its dark side too. Some orchids hack the system to steal resources from nearby trees. And other species, like the black walnut, spread toxic chemicals through the network to sabotage their rivals. Arboreal cybercrime aside, scientists are still debating why plants seem to behave in such an altruistic way. The hidden network creates a thriving community between individuals. When you're next in woodland, you might like to think of trees as part of a big superorganism.
So as you can see, the plants, vegetation that is surrounding us also has an important role. And scientists are beginning to understand them differently. Here is an example, latest example, where you use external electrical signals to stimulate a particular plant behavior. In other words, I could have electrodes placed on the plants. Just as the human neurons work, we could apply external electric fields and then make the plants to behave in a particular way. So in other words, we are beginning to understand the earth and earth systems much more differently than how we know them before. So there are many devices made based on this understanding. Another aspect is, compared to 50 years ago, now there is a lot more shift in from the physically demanding jobs to mentally demanding jobs. In fact, most students at SRM University, I'm very sure you are entering into your future careers where you would need to apply your mind much more than your physical body. There is also something understood recently that's called imposter syndrome. That means people highly capable, knowledgeable, talented, hardworking. They also seems to have the feeling of inadequacy or imposter syndrome. We call this cognitive error. So such unique behavior of our own mind is enabling us to understand us much differently. So to make this point much more loud and clear, I show you Japan recently appointed a minister for loneliness. UK has done that 2 years ago. There is also another aspect is due to pandemic, COVID-19, social distancing and isolation, there is concern for anxiety and mental stress. So these are actually affecting the future of many people. So let's begin to go into the science of a healthy planet. Year 2020, according to scientific estimates, global human-made mass exceeds all the living biomass on planet Earth. What we call Anthropocene age seems to be dominating the biosphere of the planet Earth. That is causing resource depletion, pollution, extreme weathers, and affecting human health and survival itself. You might have seen jokes in the media that to fight COVID-19, billions of face masks are being used by people, and they're mostly one-time use. Other than the cloth masks, N95 and surgical masks are one-time use. And billions of these masks are being disposed, and they are causing growing plastic pollution. On top of that, the last 50 years, economic growth, increased consumerism led to mass production, emission of pollutants that are affecting the ecosystems of planet Earth. So according to another survey, if we do nothing, more than $2.5 trillion world's financial assets will be compromised. To give you the perspective, that is equivalent to the GDP of India. Another estimate, it's about 10 times the GDP of India. That many financial assets worldwide will be affected if we do not keep the planet Earth healthy. Many countries pledged what they call carbon neutral by 2050 or 2060. And India is also thinking about setting a net zero emissions by 2050. And other countries like Australia, Russia, Switzerland, South Korea, Brazil are also being pushed by the world community to set ambitious targets so that carbon neutrality is achieved. To give this example, how big companies are now committing themselves for carbon neutrality. In this case, Apple declared that would be carbon neutral by 2030, that is less than 10 years away. Apple uses the most advanced technologies and a deep science that it makes those Apple phones functional. So imagine those thousands of components made of high-tech products, components, will be analyzed from the point of sustainability, carbon neutrality, so that future products of Apple will be carbon neutral. Similarly, Bill Gates, whom most people in India would know him for the Microsoft products. He's one of the biggest investor in the plant-based meat. This is what they call synthetic meat. Again, this synthetic meat is based on science involving plant proteins, engineering them to the taste, texture as needed by the human beings for the consumption. It also includes nutritional values. there's a lot of science that is involved in engineering the plant-derived proteins. The final interesting point aspect about this one is they say total carbon emissions by plant-based meat will be much lower than the meat that is harvested from the animals. So many companies are now weighing in, and they are now reporting ESG, environmental, social, and governance credentials of each company. Now, all the big multinational companies are doing that. And now I'm going to go faster. In Europe, most companies display their green commitments. In a way, Singapore is also moving in this direction, and Singapore lays out green plans for 2030 that involves transportation, buildings, coastal defenses, as well as waste management. And I just want to say that this particular thinking is taking place much more strongly. It is a survey I have done with the manufacturers in Singapore. So they believe, in addition to the digital technologies, investing in sustainability in the near term will give them a competitive edge. So the universities and researchers in Singapore are proactively working with companies and providing advanced scientific solutions that can improve the carbon credentials of manufacturing as well as products. In the next 10 years, there is plan to increase the manufacturing capability of Singapore by 50%. India also has a similar goal. So what that means is closer cooperation and resonance in such thinking would make a huge difference. And such ideas are already being recognized in the world competitions. So I would recommend students of SRM University to look into these sustainability aspects and compete globally and find opportunities to grow as well as contribute to the healthy planet. These are the books written by me, a recent book on Introduction to Circular Economy. We also describe a more specific details how we can engineer a healthy planet. In a nutshell, what I would like to say is it's a time for us to reimagine all the products and services so that the future products, future services will be carbon neutral. This requires new science of atoms and molecules and redesigning products and economic models. I give an example, a simple hydrogen, which can be the fuel for the future transportation systems. There are many types of hydrogen, and one need to be aware how to develop science so that green hydrogen can be cost competitive, safe, and easy to use by millions of people and industries. On the left side, China has a very strong pledge in carbon neutrality. It is projected current energy generation methods, storage methods, supply methods, utilization of energy, all that would be reinvented in the next 50 years by countries like China, USA, and certain other countries. So as a material scientist, we could imagine towards a zero waste scenario. And you can also think of re-engineering plastics and other materials. So they have exceptional properties. They could be used for upcycling. And to give you an idea, we have done a survey. Worldwide, there is a large number of scientists, a growing number of scientists working in this field. We're also introducing a core concept to every student in the university. So this is our revised curriculum at the National University of Singapore, where the students will learn at least one module related to the sustainable thinking. And that's how it is constructed. Now I move from science of healthy planet to science of healthy life. There is a joke. Are you concerned about the increase in artificial intelligence? The person responds, no, I am concerned about the decrease in real intelligence. It's a joke, but I think it's something more than a joke. If you understand how intelligence varies with age, you notice optimal intelligence seems to be happening in the human beings in age 20 to 30. So I believe SRM students, you would be in that age range. So I really hope that you make use of this opportunity and leverage your peak of intelligence and build a future for yourself. To make that very simple, I draw this graph, chronological age versus what I call intellectual efficiency. It tends to be peaking in age somewhere 20 to 35 or 40. So all of us, this is the best time to make use of our biologically endowed advantage and come up with new innovations and improve the world. I'm going to deeper into the mind. If you see on the right side, our brain, neuronal connections, broadly defined, two conditions. One is a stressful condition, another is unstressed condition. When someone is stressed, there is a weaker control of thoughts and emotions and actions. When someone is unstressed, there is a better control of thoughts, emotions, and actions. So a study suggests that about 6,000 thoughts that run through our head every day, and which translate to 4 thoughts per minute. Interestingly, 80% of those thoughts are somewhat negative in content, and most of them are repetitive. If we know, using science, how we can keep our mind to be much more happier situation, we will have a better control of our emotions, our thoughts, our actions. In other words, we can progress better. So here is a lot of science that is taking place in different scientific disciplines that involves language, memory, biology, biochemistry, genetics. All of them point to the fact they influence our emotions and our thoughts. The central point from all this knowledge is if you can modulate your thoughts using your own thinking, perhaps intentions, you can produce outcomes that are more desirable for you. In other words, in the future, humans will have access to refined devices, systems, and methods to perceive and visualize own thoughts, redesign own mind, and build psychological resilience so that we can overcome challenges like mental stress. To make that underpin using a strong scientific background, I'm listing a number of high technology, high science areas: artificial intelligence, neural interfaces, quantum chips, quantum biology, psychedelics, wearables, augmented being. I'll give some examples. In this case, in our laboratories, we produce mini brains by coaxing brain stem cells on engineered nanomaterials, and we could produce mini brains. Similarly, we are understanding life on planet Earth much more differently. This is a sea slug. If you chop off the sea slug's head, that means you separate the body from the head. The head actually regenerates its own body again. So in other words, slug is trying to discard diseased or damaged or infected body and creating its own new body. Scientists are seeing such interesting observations in several other species. So with time, we will learn how to use tissue engineering, regenerative medicine, stem cells, 3D printing technologies, come up ways to regenerate our human body parts. And in this case, a visualizer, where this is a wearable system which measures electromagnetic waves as we think, and those are deciphered, converted into a visualization so that we can visualize how our mind is thinking. So you can imagine a lot more science that is involving physics and chemistry and quantum knowledge, able to come up with many types of new materials and devices, and they are integrated seamlessly with the human body. I want to give a clear example so that you know this is not science fiction, it's a reality. Elon Musk, one of the world's richest person, he invested in another company called Neuralink. This company aims to decipher brain signals initially from the pigs, later on from the human beings. Why is that so? That's because on the right side, I show a human brain, a 70-year-old female brain. Commonly, with aging, we have dementia, Alzheimer's, and many other problems. To treat these diseases, right now, very limited medical solutions are available. But moving forward, you can imagine these neural interfaces designed by advanced scientific methods. They could read the minds, perhaps augment the minds. And also, I give you another example. In our own laboratory, we work on wearables. In this case, she's wearing a ring that measures a number of vital functions of the body. That includes heart rate, respiration rate, body motion, temperature, glucose level. For example, glucose level is important for monitoring the diabetic patients. So again, I want to underscore this with an example. Fitbit is a company that pioneered in a wearable device that measures simple body movements and heart rate. Recently, Google bought this company for more than $2 billion. So that tells you that big tech companies are thinking in the same direction, that is, how they can use science and technology to improve the mental well-being of human beings. So this is an example where in UK, they are talking about remotely working employees, how they can communicate with their bosses, and bosses can understand the state of the mind of the employees so that they could conduct the meeting much more fruitfully. So in my sense, future health, wellness of human beings depends or augmented by intelligent materials and systems. In other words, we are going to improve the healthy life of the people. So imagine how we all age. So this is my own illustration. On the left side of the image, that's how I look like now. That's a simulated computer version, how I look like maybe in the future. So that primarily focuses on the skin and the wrinklings on the skin. But below the skin, we have several tissues and organs. I have documented them with respect to the age, how different tissues and organs will age, would have problems associated with the health. So on the top right-hand corner, you would appreciate most of them are related to the mind, our brain, and nervous systems. So point here is, there is a fundamental difference between aging of males and females. Also, genetics play a role. lifestyle plays a role, and a climate plays an important role. So in my belief, more research needs to be done. Further science will enable us to see how to alleviate the problems associated with the mental stress as well as aging. A strong and simplified message for all the audience is I strongly believe, even though our thoughts are influenced by a number of variables in the bubbles that includes language as well as culture, if we can learn or practice how to make our thoughts to work for us, we will be better individuals. A simple way to do that is try and understand the origins and effects of thoughts, emotions on your thinking and actions. Just try that. And employ your own thinking as a tool to process the negative thoughts and emotions and quickly diffuse them. Practice to verbalize your thoughts via deep conversations and expressing out. And employ thoughts as your tool to master your own thoughts so as to make purposeful choices and actions in order to achieve, contribute, and be happy. Often thoughts are neglected, but that's exactly what I'm trying to restate, re-emphasize. We really need to understand our own thoughts deeply so that we can make them to work for us, for our future. So here is an example, a young scientist in Singapore, what he said. He said, science is not like in the movies. It takes time. And science rewards those who are patient. So in order to keep to the time that is given to me, I like to conclude by drawing a few observations. In terms of healthy planet, I believe we will have to ask every business around the world to report on ESG, and transparently they can be analyzed, and also they will be helpful in changing the consumer behavior. Hopefully, we can transition from the point of consumption, use thinking, to life cycle thinking of products and services so that we can contribute to a healthy planet. There is a tremendous scope for new science in terms of atoms and molecules. I didn't go into much detail, but there's a lot of new publications are coming up in this area that lead to novel materials, products, services, and economic models. And I believe in terms of the healthy life, science of mind and mind-inspired technologies are the new frontiers of innovation. They will change the human living that has never been seen or experienced before. In a tagline, I would say, mind your mind to achieve, contribute, to be happy and healthy. And I really say, after 35 years coming from Amaravati place, I like to restate it. Last 35 years, what I learned is science is necessary for a healthy life and a healthy planet. Health, gap of life, and earth are real, and we need to step up. And I'm sure all of you, just like me, equally motivated to do what we can. Thank you again for your patience, listening to my lecture, also for the opportunity for me to engage you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thank you, Professor. So now I request my colleague, Dr. Sirisha, to take up the questions.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, that was a very impactful and impressive and informative talk. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing your time. We'll quickly take a few questions, sir. And here is the Dr. B.V. Babu He would like to ask you a question, sir. Uh, Murali sir, can you please? Yeah, he will ask you directly, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Dr. Seeram. This is Dr. B.V. Babu. Do you remember me? We met at the World Accreditation Conference.
Absolutely. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Well, I think I can't be better. Of course, COVID-19 has an impact, but
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are
yeah.
managing.
Yeah. My question is, in the lines of lean manufacturing systems, these digital lean solutions are going to come up in a big way for both the products and services. You know, this digital lean solutions is basically the combination of information technology, digital technology, and Internet of Things.
That's right.
Obviously, you know that digital technologies includes MAC, the social networking, mobile networking, analytics, and cloud computing. So when you bring out the products and services under these umbrella of digital lean solutions, do you think these solutions are going to be environment friendly? Or should we look at the way the human body works and mimic the natural body systems to develop both products and services? Because I'm completely convinced that this human body is the best designed system by the one and only the engineer, the God. You know, whatever we take in, everything is completely utilized and converted into useful energy to run this body, and whatever little comes out as a waste is completely biodegradable. So I don't find any better system than the human body that is existing. So should we train our students to look at the body and within and find out the solutions for products and services in these lines, or should we go for digital lean solutions, which is not environmental friendly, according to me? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So the first thing is this with the way the COVID-19 and social distancing, what's happening is there's an exponential growth of digital technologies. And that also includes manufacturing, but I'm not singling out manufacturing. What you described is manufacturing, what we call Industry 4.0, and which has a lot of leveraging on digital technologies like cloud computing, big data analytics, and on-site processing.
Social networking and mobile networking,
yes, that's right. So what happened is actually the data centers around the world, they are not so environmentally friendly.
Yeah.
And all the big companies are now pushing forward to redesign, improve the data centers, what they call PUE, and they want to bring that to the as close as one, which is highly difficult. But the whole concept there is to reduce the environmental footprint. Now, your broader question is human body evolved to be much more efficient over the last, as far as we know, humans existed for 300,000 years. So question is, can we not learn from the human body and design better systems? Answer is yes. I actually think when I started talking about intelligent materials, there is concern also. Intelligence is normally associated with living beings, and especially human beings. But the more we understand what is intelligence and what is life, our perspectives are changing. Let me explain in a simple way. Virus, what we know now is if you freeze it, put it in the refrigerator, it is like a crystal. There's no life. But when it infects a cell, it takes over the whole machinery of cell and actually makes the cell to work for the virus to propagate. In other words, a living cell actually has an energy center. It absorbs energy, metabolizes, and it tries to replicate itself. That's how we define life. Any being that is capable of absorbing energy, digesting energy, replicating, reproducing itself, That is the definition of life. But now virus is actually invading a living being and making it to work for them very intelligently. So in other words, how we actually define life is to be revisited. So now come to the intelligence. Intelligence is generally defined through the human mind, but there's a lot more intelligent things are happening in the plants. I just showed a video where we seemingly think the plants have less intelligence, but they seems to be doing things very interestingly, same as a virus. So if you think of what is the source of intelligence, specific genetic code, and it somehow derives this functionality. So we need to revisit how we define even intelligence. So bringing back my explanation to your question, we should accept the established knowledge on the face value, but at the same time, we should revisit every known knowledge and see how we can innovate, come up with a better and deeper knowledge.
Yeah, thank you. So, Lisa, can you go to next question?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The next question is from Srinivas Babu Nadandla. Sir, please unmute him. Murli, sir.
You can ask question.
Okay. It's not good to speak with you due to water problem. Kindly answer to the doubts as we are all renewed experts, and how nanocellulose can better distributed into epoxy resin, how to get good strength. It is his question, sir. He could not able to talk, so.
No worries.
Yeah.
So the nanocellulose, for those who are not a material scientist, I just want to tell them that cellulose is the basic building block of all the plants. And within the cellulose, there is something called nanocellulose, which is very small in dimension, but it has a very high quality mechanical as well as the physical properties. So the question here is, how do we ensure we can mix the cellulose with epoxy much more uniformly, and also there is a better properties are translated into the epoxy composite. So my suggestion is in a nanocellulose processing, you might want to look at surface chemistry, and there are methods like new concepts like ionic liquids, for example. You could also look at other methods and see how you can modify so that the interface between cellulose and epoxy can be nano-engineered so that you have a better interface. The second question is, how do you ensure there is a uniform distribution of nanocellulose in epoxy? That also depends on how much epoxy, how much cellulose you are adding, and how you are distributing, dispersing, using any other surface modification methods. Then you can ensure a much more uniform distribution of nanocellulose in the epoxy system.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Vinod Kumar. Murli, sir, can you please unmute him?
Yeah, I unmuted.
Yes.
Vinod.
Vinod.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi, good afternoon.
So, this is Vinod. I'm associate professor in the Central University of Punjab. I'm heading chemistry department there. So thank you, sir. It was really wonderful talk. I enjoyed a lot. I just want to ask you, what do you think are the most serious challenges for the sustainable development, which needs immediate attention of the scientist, maybe in terms of chemistry? So can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, thank you. So as everybody can appreciate, sustainability is a very broad canvas topic, and there are many facets to it. One area is the chemistry. The question is, what new type of chemistry that can be done so that sustainability can be improved. I give one example, plastics. Plastics is one of the largest consumed material by human beings. And these plastics right now, most of them are not recyclable. So using better chemistry, they call new types of click chemistry and other chemistries, you could imagine a Lego type molecular arrangement of plastics. In other words, using a Lego toy concept, you can redesign chemistry of the polymer molecules, and when you mix them, when you process them, you have a standard plastic. But at the time of recycling, you would be able to disassemble them more easily, and you could actually recycle them. So right now, recycling rate of plastics generally 6%. So if we can raise the recycling rate to 30%, 50%, 80%, or 90%, I think that substantially improves the sustainability of the materials. So that's one aspect. So the chemistry can also go in terms of other dimension. Many places we use adhesives and glues, for example, to glue few things. So you can imagine the new chemistry, what we call a glueless glues. In other words, there is a glue kind of functionality without using harmful chemicals. The last one I want to say, an example is we also add certain chemicals into the plastics. They are actually now known as endocrine disruptors. So what is endocrine disruptor? They actually lead to infertility in the male population and is already been observed in the developed countries because of the excessive consumption of the plastics. So if we can imagine the additives that we add into the plastics, they are necessary because for the processing purposes. But if we can come up with a new chemistry so that these additives are less harmful to the environment, less harmful to the marine organisms, and less detrimental to the fertility of the human beings. I think that's one example I can give. But I could go on, give many, many examples in terms of materials and sustainability.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Thank you, sir. Now Dr. Vinod will carry on with other sessions.
Yeah. So now, sir, I invite our Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor D. Narayan Rao, to have some word. Sir, please.
Seeram Ramakrishna.
Hello.
We are all delighted to listen to your inspiring and motivating talk on science and technology for a healthy planet. And also, you have highlighted that by 2050, India will have zero emissions. In that direction, the country is proceeding in a very accelerated way by installing huge installations for solar photovoltaic energy, electric vehicles, and also hydrogen as a fuel for buses and trains. I just mentioned a few. In view of that national priorities and also the expertise available at SRM-AP, keeping the interests of the faculty members, we are now taking up an activity of solar photovoltaic energy for air conditioning, particularly for cold storages around Guntur, in association with the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Similarly, regarding electric vehicles, today, as you know, in the world, electric vehicle means lithium-ion battery. Thus, in association with the leading battery manufacturers in the country, namely Amar Raja Batteries, we established SRM Amar Raja Center for Energy Storage Devices, with some of the objectives being fast charging of lithium-ion batteries, 3D printing of electrodes to provide more surface area, and also working beyond lithium, that is sodium and batteries, because lithium, as you know, is not abundantly available in the world. Third one is hydrogen as a fuel. As you rightly mentioned, this will be the fuel of the future. We realized that a couple of years back, and now SRM, in association with the Integral Coach Factory of the Ministry of Railways, we are developing a hydrogen-powered PEM fuel cell-based train to demonstrate 2 coaches operating at 75 km speed. This may take about 3 years. As you rightly mentioned, hydrogen. Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay, now my video is gone. That doesn't matter. You rightly mentioned hydrogen as the fuel of the future. Yes, hydrogen is projected as a thrust area by the National Research Foundation being established from 1st April 2021. We are also thinking of an activity of generation of hydrogen. For the fuel cell, we are taking hydrogen which is coming as a byproduct from some alkali industries. Then another initiative is 3D printing of bioorgans. What I'm trying to say that you said the intelligence is generally in between 20 to 40 years. We have that great advantage of having young students and also young faculty members at SRM-AP. So to harness this strength and the potential, we have taken up a few activities. Of course, I mentioned only a few which are related to the talk. Through this forum, I solicit your kind cooperation and support in mentoring some of our faculty members in pursuing some of these areas. Thank you very much, Prof Seeram Ramakrishna.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, I also invite our Pro Vice Chancellor to present a memento to our.
No, let me join the meeting. I don't know what happened. Rejoin. I'm sorry for the interruption. This I call as lights and shadows of technology. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So please present a memento to our distinguished speaker.
Yeah, I deem it a great honor and pleasure to present a memento to the most illustrious scientist and proud son of the soil, Prof Seeram Ramakrishna. I request Prof Seeram Ramakrishna to kindly accept the memento.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Yeah.
Yeah, now I invite my colleague, Dr. Venkata Nori, to conclude, to give the concluding remarks. Dr. Venkat.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir, for giving such a wonderful talk today. And it's my privilege and honor to express these concluding remarks on behalf of SRM University on this momentous occasion. I would like to thank all of you for your gracious presence today and attending the University Distinguished Lecture 8, organized by SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. My heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speaker, Professor Seeram Ramakrishna, Everest Chair, National University of Singapore, for his inspiring talk. Actually, the talk reminded me of the famous quotation by Socrates: "Education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel." I am 100% sure that your talk has ignited many young and bright minds in the audience to work on the challenges faced by humanity. We have seen a very balanced and evolved mind give us this wonderful webinar today. In fact, if I just look at some of the main points that you have covered, sir, you started off, the impact of COVID on the society and the lessons learned and the interesting products when humanity is faced with challenges so many products have been launched, and you have shown us some of the products, innovative products. And also, you have also shown us the intelligence in nature by your short video on this wood wide web. And also, the importance of planet's health is so important, because it has a direct impact on the finances, and it's a huge impact actually on the financial resources impacting the whole world. And of course, the world is waking up to the consequence of this climate change. And you have shown us how the different corporates and the countries are coming together for making this carbon neutrality, and most of them are trying to get there by 2030. And of course, as I mentioned, it is most likely and possible only by using low carbon materials, products and services. At the same time, you also mentioned the importance of the human being itself. Human mind is both mysterious. At the same time, it has solutions for all the problems, but as you mentioned, if not managed properly, it can create a plethora of challenges and problems to the humankind. And you have very nicely illustrated the various forms of intelligence, of human intelligence, and also the importance of redesigning the mind using technology and science. For example, using tissue engineering, the mind visualizer, using wearables for tracking our mental and physical health. Of course, the emotional health also plays an important part here. And human happiness and creativity ultimately depend upon the human mind. So thank you again, sir. We are honored by your presence, and I'm very thankful to our Honorable President, Vice Chancellor, and Pro Vice Chancellor for their constant support, encouragement, and the guidance provided to organize an event of this scale. I sincerely thank the highly dedicated and motivated event organizing team and the coordinators for managing an event of this scale. I would also like to thank the ITKM team for their technical support for the smooth running of this webinar and launching this event worldwide in various social media. I express my sincere thanks to electronic print and media partners who attended today's webinar. Last but not the least, I thank all the distinguished participants from various corners of the world for attending this distinguished webinar, and I am sure that all of us had a great Saturday afternoon. Once again, thanks everyone for making it. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care and stay safe. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay,
Nori.
thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nori. So thank you, sir. We'll close the session now.
Vinod, Ranjit and Murali could stay back for a few moments after the others leave.
Yeah.
For a few moments.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Vinod, Ranjit and Murali.
Murli sir, shall I give you the host and shall I?
Yes, you can do that.
Sir, maybe stop the live streaming.
Yeah, please.
Murli Krishna sir, only you